I was always really close to my grandfather. When I was younger, he would play his accordion for me or have me on his lap while he played his organ. More than once, he had looked into my eyes and told me how beautiful I was, while his eyes filled with tears. So you can understand that when he passed away in 2008 from Alzheimer's disease, I was heartbroken. I remember a day or two after his death, my grandmother asked if my mother and I would come over to help her go through picture albums to find pictures of my grandfather to display at the funeral. It was a very solemn experience. We discussed our fond memories of him while shifting through picture after picture, picking the ones we thought best showed his personality, including some of him and I. There was a point during the process of sifting through memories that I was feeling especially calm. I remember just sitting there, listening to my grandmother and my mother talk. I guess you could say I was feeling at peace. As I sat, really not thinking or feeling anything, something out of the corner of my eye made me turn my head towards the sliding glass door that led to the deck. At this point, it was fairly dark outside, and there was nobody at the house except us three. Yet, I saw something that evening that I still can't explain. Everything happened in a matter of seconds, and the whole time I was feeling especially somber and was hardly even thinking. I saw something in that glass sliding door that looked like what I can only describe as a thick wisp of white smoke. I remember my brain calculating in those few short moments, trying to come up with a conclusion for what this was, and I came up with reflection. My grandma smokes, so my immediate thought was that I had to be seeing a reflection of a wisp of her smoke. So I slowly turned my head, still rather out of sorts, and looked to where it should be in the room. I can still remember the image of the top of the refrigerator where I had stared for about 5 seconds. Whatever had made that reflection should have been directly in front of the refrigerator, very near to the ceiling. Yet what I saw was absolutely nothing. I then noticed that there was also a fan in the kitchen, blowing in that direction, and my brain was telling me that this made no sense at all. The smoky-like image I saw was moving gently, slowly, and if there was any smoke in that area, the fan would have blown it so fast I probably wouldn't have seen it at all. And do you want to know the strangest part? My grandma did not have a cigarette lit at that moment. The back of my neck tingled as I considered the possibility that what I saw was probably outside. But I was still so oddly calm that I totally disregarded everything and didn't think about it until later when my mother and I got home. Later that evening, as my mother and I arrived home, we were chatting about how it all went at my grandma's. She was joking about how it was funny that nothing creepy or spiritual had happened, since my grandma is always seeing things and having experiences. That's when I brought up what I had seen. I kind of thought nothing of it, since I'm sort of a non-believer when it comes to ghosts. But after telling the story to my mom, she immediately went upstairs and emailed my grandma the story I told. My mom told me that it was definitely possible that since my grandfather and I were so close, maybe he had tried to show himself to me to possibly say goodbye. And that could have been why I felt so immensely content and at peace. I started to tear up. Her explanation hit home in a way I didn't think it would, especially since I don't believe in spiritual things like this. It just made sense to me in a way, and now I'm not so sure that I don't believe it after all.